I always just like to kind of just give you a little more on imputation of income. When is it appropriate? Well, you have to show an ability to work or earn, right? And availability of work. So it's not enough that you come in and say somebody has an MBA, they have all these skills when, gee, they're, 60 years old and they haven't worked in 20 years. So they may, quote, have an ability. Well, maybe they had an ability a long time ago. Maybe they had that MBA, but you may get somebody that somebody's all upset in spousal support that they should be working and I want to impute income, and they don't even know how to use a computer, okay? Or very limited in using a computer. They use it to go on, Amazon and order things. That's a lot different than being able to get hired because you're going to, function on a computer for an accounting position or a management position, or you used to do human resources, okay? And so again, that's where, you could order a vocational evaluation, but it also is where don't just look at vocational evaluations. You might, as a tool to say, I want to impute income, but you can use those vocational evaluations to help somebody get re-entered into the job market, to help somebody identify where can somebody with my background find work? What additional training might be required before there are jobs that are available for me, okay? And then again, that's where this coaching the unemployed or the never employed, okay? So you never want to talk about this without looking at this. Now, obviously, there are cases where it's imputation of income because someone just doesn't want to work, okay? Or they're just lazy. That's really, different. I find that, remember, in spousal support, the other thing that we should mention here, because this is where I think it'll come up a lot, child support, you are not usually dealing with your parties in their late 40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay, more and more. I just had a case yesterday. He was 52 and he's got 10 and 7-year-olds. Okay, and his wife is 40. All right, and so, he's paying child support. He'll be paying child support into his 60s, but that's not usually the case. Whereas spousal support, the other thing, and I probably should do a whole thing on just gray divorce and spousal support, okay? And I'm just going to mention it as we go through here. But in an imputation of income, when you have a 50 or 60-year-old, a 50-year-old out of work, or somebody who's 62, and now they're divorcing and they've got 3 years of before, we really in the court is really looking at, and I probably should figure out if there's a case on it, but 65 or older, you're kind of allowed to retire because, you're allowed to have Social Security. And maybe some judges are saying, look, she's 62. I'm not going to impute any income. I'm just going to, divide your retirement, see what your respective retirement is, look at what Social Security is, and that's their income. Or even, a 50, I've had women I have one right now. She's 57. She's working part-time at Macy's. Okay. She's making I don't know, $1,800 a month part-time. And her husband is like, she needs to go get a better job and she needs this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, what is she going to go do? Now, some people might be really motivated. Maybe she'll go take a computer class. But I mean, she struggled to learn the cash register or whatever they use these days at, Macy's. So again, when you're looking at these issues in spousal support, it's going to be a little more challenging because your parties are not necessarily in their working years. Whereas when you've got child support going on, largely, the parties you're seeing maybe late 40s. But, you may see the other side that they're young. A lot of times what you'll have somebody in the middle of trying to get their career together. So you have challenges of, well, yeah, they could go make money, but don't we want them to get their doctorate? Don't we want them to finish, their studies? So again, That's why spousal support is a lot more challenging. You could have clients that haven't had children yet, or you have clients who are beyond working age, and that is where it gets really challenging.